That's all it is. And good evening, everyone, and welcome out to Walk-Ons, where we are live on another Thursday edition. This is not Thursday, Coach Kane. There you go. That music got him. Now, here we go again, back on a Wednesday, and it's the homecoming week. Wednesday is what's getting us.
Yeah, always an interesting week. It really is, and I know we didn't want to do it on.
Slide this way, Coach.
Yep, I know we didn't want to do it on. Well, I thought the picture looked better.
With you all know we can't do
with
that.
Me out of the frame, but. No, I mean, scheduling routine is important, and obviously, you know, for the show we're out of routine, which will take me out of routine for the week, but I'll have to get over it, especially after the job I did in the second half last week. I kind of deserve a little bit of punishment, and so if this is what part of it, hey, I'm with you. I accept my punishment, no.
Moved the show to Wednesday night because the homecoming parade is tomorrow night, and wanted to get more folks to be able to come out, and we appreciate all those that have made it out tonight to visit with us. Great game last week, Coach. You started out 27-0 in there. We've got some highlights of that one. The second half we talked, and you said we just wanted to come out and start fast because you had deferred again, scored right before the end of the half, and had it set up perfect.
Yeah,
but,
said all the right things, did all the wrong things. Didn't remain aggressive. You know, we didn't come out with some tempo. Kind of was like, all right, let's get some first downs and run some clock, and just didn't do a good job. Tried to, kind of got into that where let's run the clock and played not to lose rather than just stay aggressive. Said all the right things coming out of halftime, but, I really, got to do a better job. I told the kids that at the end of the game. Obviously, you and I talked about that at the end of the game. And, thank God it's a four-quarter collective effort that determines the game, not just a half. And, the positives that came out of that is that it shows that it continued to show the kids grit and resolve. And, when adversity presented itself and it got really, really tight, they made the plays down the stretch that they had to make. They did. The kids went out and won the football game, and I couldn't be prouder in that regard that we had to fight for another one, and we just didn't get a coast to victory. And, they were just fun to be around and see hey, let's go play.
Well, you knew that East Ascension was not going to quit in that ball game. They were going to come out firing. They had to get a stop to start the second half, and they did that, and they roll off 21 points in a row and made that thing a 6-point game before you go down there and you get the touchdown that gave you a little bit of breathing room in that. So it was good to stop the bleeding because momentum is a
real thing.
It is.
It's a real thing. It's felt and it's real, and we had all the momentum, and if we take that opening drive in the second half and put even more distance, more time off the clock, I mean, it just gets to the point where you might have put it too far out of reach.
Right.
And, when you give somebody hope coming right out of halftime, it can make for, all right, that's another possession, another opportunity, and before you know it, it had flipped, and now you're 4 possessions behind. Now you're 3. Now, it's like, all right, now there's plenty of time. We've got plenty of possessions, and so should have done a better job coming out of halftime of, going and sticking that ball in the end zone. And we've been pretty good at that through the years, situations like that where you get the ball to close the first half, you go get points, and then you're going to get the ball coming out of halftime.
You Belichick them.
You have an opportunity to score 14 points before they really ever touch the ball again. So, I know we focused on the second half. I was really proud
that last
the
drive
that they did with 38 seconds there right before halftime.
Take us through that just
Didn't
a little bit.
Didn't even have to use the timeout.
That's right.
We knew we had a timeout in our pocket, and really we're just looking to go get any points there.
Right.
Let's get it in field goal range. Let's try and complete a couple of passes.
And we've got that touchdown as well as all of the touchdowns, including the one that I wasn't sure if it was Coach Ernie or I called that there was going to be an interception. We'll let the tape discover that. I'm not quite certain. I have a little inkling of it, but we'll get into that. What I want to do, we oftentimes talk about alumni calling back. We talked with Harrington last week, and he talked about Shield calling him and them talking as well. We're down covering LSU on Saturday. It was the New Mexico game, and we're going to go into a picture of who I ran into down there. We'll see if Chuck is able to pull that up on the screen. And there's the big man Jacobian that was down there, able to catch up with him after the game. And I think
know
he said
you were down there until after. I was down there.
You were down on the field?
I went down. I was down before the game down there, but I got to see Jacobian on the Tiger Walk. You got another picture of who else you ran into?
I do. As a matter of fact, we're going to get that, but Chuck will have to switch off of that because it takes me a minute. I'm not smart enough yet.
I won't bring his name up until he gets on the
technology.
On the screen, but I also was just.
But absolutely, I found this young man too, and so that's a. Hang on, Chuck. I don't know what happened there, buddy. It's probably my fault.
The massive humanity that is down there, and I happened to be walking by, and Ragin had just sent me a text message of an interview. He actually had interviewed Jacobian earlier that week.
Yep, that's right.
And,
I saw that one.
Had sent me a clip of it, and not before I had looked at my phone, I had spotted him out, and I ran up behind him and grabbed him. Whatever. Of course, he's looking. So a lot of fun to see the boys, young men now, and what they're doing and the success they're having.
We had
it makes you really proud.
We had Ragin on the show a couple of times during his career here, and I can't. Maybe this launched that. I don't know. We'll take it.
He's going to take it, and he's going to run with it. He's going to do a great job with it. I know that much.
I walked by and saw his name, along they had assigned seating for us there on the media row, and walked by and I was like, wait a minute, and got to see his name on there, and so knew that we would be able to run into him.
That's a lot of fun to see when they're doing things. And you mentioned Shield. I had a chance to talk to Shield today. Actually, we got a chance to have a little conversation. And
how's he doing out there?
Doing good. Shield Taylor.
Yeah,
he's steady. He's high character. He's Shield Taylor. I know that people that are inside, when we say that, it's like, all right, enough said. He's of course, we got to see Cole and TJ 2 weeks ago when we were up at Northwestern. Get a chance to talk to Judd.
Haven't got to see Bud, but I saw his mom at the Jamboree. Talked to her. She was out there and got to visit with her. How's he doing? I know he had been hampered with a little bit of an injury starting the season.
I think he had a little hairline fracture. I need to, I think that I hope that he's getting towards the end of that, fixing to get back out there and get rolling. And, I know that, those little setbacks are frustrating. You work your tail off for so long to get get where you need to be. And here it is. And then a little setback. But I know him well enough to know he's going to overcome it. He's going to keep charging forward, and he'll be better for, more adversity that he's faced. He'll be better for it in the long run.
At those LSU games, they flash on the screen, I guess, the third or fourth quarter, and such a great recruiting tool. And they flash that NFLSU, and they show all of the players that have went from LSU off into the NFL. It'd be great on the Jumbotron next year that we get.
I was just thinking, when we get a Jumbotron, I would love to do that.
Yeah, you can have that same setup.
Even the guys that, I've gotten a chance to meet and, but didn't necessarily coach. DJ Chark, you got Nick Harris, you got DeMar Dotson, you start naming them, and it's like, golly, there's so many of them. Chris Brown at Oklahoma.
It's time to put some more banners along the back fence.
I agree.
We did that 1 year, and then
that stuff's expensive. That's the only problem.
Need to get some of that banner off the top back of the press box and use for those, because there's a big one back there. We need to get that over there. But I want to take through a little bit through that before we take our first break, and let's look at some of the highlights of that game in the first half. Jump out to the 27-0 lead on that. And right now we will, when Chuck gets
Harrington.
Back around to us, I'll let you take us through there, Coach. You can see it on screen, but you can watch it on mine. It's a little bit easier. This is the first touchdown of the night. So take us through one of three, and it seems like the way I count, that's got like 426 touchdowns this year, but picked up 3 more tonight or last Friday night. So take us through this just a little bit, Coach. What you have here in front of us was touchdown number 1.
Yeah, just in people would probably treat it as 12 personnel, 2 tight end set, and we're just going to run a gap scheme.
Handoff goes to Cunningham. Cunningham up the middle. Into the end zone. Touchdown. Cunningham.
And that's all he did. I wish we had the end zone. I don't know if you got the end zone.
These are off of ours.
Sideline. When you see the end zone, you could probably see the combinations that are being worked and the the front that's being presented, and
you can go back and see a little bit what's going on. It's creating a lot of chaos for that defensive line, and it doesn't look like, Coach, that they really had an answer to it.
No, they James does a good job there of getting it kicked right there. You can see Hunter pulling around and inserting, and Cunningham's going to get right there on the crease on the inside hip right there and you don't need much when the ball's down there, inside
and
the one.
That Cunningham's going to fight his way in from there.
Yep, he's a load to tackle and does a very good job.
I can't hear him at all. Okay, sorry about that. We're fiddling in game, and we asked. I can't hear. There we go.
Am I on now? I can hear myself, which I can hear myself all the time. So I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But yeah, just good job of plugging it in there,
So that was the first touchdown, and that was a big one
Got
for
us rolling, yep.
That's right. So now we'll switch over and get into the second one, and second verse, same as the first. Here goes Cunningham.
Same scheme, same formation. Got to protect the football there at the end. If you can run it back, you're going to see that we just,
You're talking here when the ball comes out.
Just the snap back to the front. You can see some movement there, a little bit of push there. James is going to get the kick, so we're going, they're going to plug it up in there. Here we are. There's Hunter, guys.
He continues to impress
the
too.
End zone, the end zone would be, and I know, I'm sorry, this is great camera work. I don't mean that, but I'm just saying the end zone view, you can really see more of the combinations that the guys are working and how they're gapping it off.
We'll work next week and we'll get some of that.
I'm sorry,
and get some of the huddle film in there.
It's hard to, you do, if anybody's watching, want to try and explain a little bit of it and.
Then you go back to
simple little toss.
Well, hang on. This one got us out of there. We got ahead of the way. That was his third one. So yeah, here comes. This was the first touchdown pass of the night from Joe. Joe had a couple of them on the evening, and looked like that Jalen just found the end zone and stopped.
Little sprint out, little 3-man combination, and guy in the flat, guy in the corner spot. They lose Jalen.
How do you do that? How do you lose Jalen Johnson?
You play with tempo. There's a lot of stuff and rules that are based in.
And you see him come in from the outside, and he drifts around, just puts a hand up and says, hey, quarterback, here I am.
Yep.
And Joe does a tremendous job of getting the ball in there.
Big touchdown. That's third down, too. Third down, we needed to convert. A touchdown makes it 3 possessions. You got to kick a field goal there, and it's 16. It's still only two possessions. So the touchdown was huge at that point in the game.
And this is what we talked about. This is the one, Coach, that you guys go down the field, and this was just a tremendous job of running by Eric Jones.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
He'll start as the wide receiver that's on the 30-yard line. I don't know if you can see the cursor.
Just a simple little tunnel screen. Of course, they're basing in a 4-2-5, so the boundary, they don't have that apex defender. They don't have that nickel defender, so you got a chance to, we threw it in our first half, a little bit to the field, and depending on how that nickel's, playing things, he can make your life miserable. But, throwing it into the boundary against this 4-2-5 look was a good answer for us with some of the problems that the nickel gave us in the early in the game with just how we're going to account for him,
right,
or getting linemen out to him, and the linemen are going to get out. Here they come. Hard pass rush.
So the 30-yard line is the line of scrimmage. At what point does explain to our folks there? How far can these linemen go down? 5 yards?
They can be as far downfield. If the ball's completed behind the line of scrimmage, the linemen can be as far downfield as they want.
And that's what we wanted to bring, because you're 2 yards behind it when he drops back, and you got to believe that's designed.
Yeah, no doubt. That screen, I want to say the same rule as in college. In the NFL, the rule's a little bit different, but in college, same rule. Ball completed behind the line of scrimmage on screens. You can push the lineman out down the field. You don't get flagged for.
And that's what we wanted you to explain.
Now, if we're beyond the line of scrimmage, and we've had that bad path out of the receiver, a ball that pulls him up and catch it beyond the line of scrimmage, you're going to get flagged, and they're going to call the play back. But
when you work in practice, you work these
here.
Guys to make sure they're behind that line of
really
scrimmage.
Really good path out of Eric. Good tight. If you run it back, Jimmy's doing a good job right here into the boundary. I'm sorry, that's Mingo. Jimmy's to the field, but the slot does a nice job. And with our guys, if they can find that crease and we hit that crease, and there's that army of people out in front of them. I mean, it's going to have a chance, and
have a chance it does. So Eric takes this one.
Calderon's 12 yards down the field. Our starting center's down the field, fitting up on somebody.
And you like to see that as much as you like to see receivers blocking downfield. You like to see your linemen,
no doubt,
down the field doing it as well.
It's just an effort thing. I mean, blocking down the field's about effort as much as it is about anything. It's just, And
at that point, it's 27.
About walk too.
That was huge because it was right before the half. And you guys go down there and get the touchdown. And you're at that point, again, talking about you just want to go get some points on the board.
Yeah, I mean, a touchdown here right before half is kind of can be demoralizing. Now, it didn't demoralize them, completely. But, that touchdown right there ends up, going a long way. All those points counted at the end of the game. So,
that's correct. Oh, and much needed.
We talk about that all the time is, the points you score or you give up in the first quarter, everybody looks at the last play of the game and says, oh, that play won the game. So did that one.
You're exactly right. Look, anybody that watches it knows that had such a big deal. Well, things tighten up a little bit. We talked about the 21 points that we'll stop it right here. And you can see on our at that point, I think it was 27-21 on the scoreboard. The scoreboard shows it 27-14, but it was 27-21 at that point, courtesy of our Wallace Eye Associates.
It was 27-21. It was a must go get points drive.
Well, because now, as an announcer, and I don't know how much you look, I'm certain, I know you guys are, you're looking up and said, we had a missed extra point, now we're looking at this, so we've got to give ourselves
you
that
don't
two-score
want that
advantage.
To come back and bite you.
And so here's Cunningham taking it the distance on this one. Coach from, I guess about 20 yards out before it was all said and done. And this is a play that you guys have worked on a lot.
Runs right through a tackle of the backside backer. I mean, it's impressive.
He's done that so much this year, running through that. And we'll slowly pull it forward just a little bit, and you'll see the tackles.
Get over the top right there, and 20, yep. And
he just goes right through this fella here. But again, he runs through two guys that had a shot and then one more. So my count, he breaks about 6 tackles on his way. We'll run it back and do it full speed. But look at just the speed and the power that Cunningham runs with.
Yep.
And again, you've got your lineman blocking
huge
downfield.
Run. Yep, Calderon pulling around and getting out front, leading the way into the end zone.
34-21 now. Got a little bit of breathing room again, but here comes East Ascension, Coach, right back down the field. And you have an opportunity. So this is the play before the interception when it's 4th down and you decide to go for it rather than punt it and get them deep down in there.
Yeah,
What's the thought process?
They're down to one timeout. There's, we convert that thing. We're in victory formation, taking a knee. I know there's a lot of ways to do things, and I have to do a better job, but I do believe in the kids, and we converted. I fully believe that we had an opportunity to convert. And
well, I'm going to tell you, in the booth, we knew what was going to happen in this. I'm going to pull this final touchdown up, and it's this preview. And Chuck, we will need. I'll set it up before we get going too. This was right after the turnover in downs, and you get a sideline warning on 2. There were 3 sideline warnings in the game, 2 against East Ascension and 1 against you guys. What happened there at the end that created the sideline warning? You just chose to call it, huh?
You get too far forward, and they warn you.
And they warn you, and twice, and it's the penalty.
Yes.
All right. So it wasn't because we've heard cases. It's not if the official's running down and he runs into somebody, or
that's a penalty.
Okay.
That's automatically no warning, no nothing. You bump an official. That's a 15-yard.
Whether
penalty.
He runs into you or not, I mean, whatever happens, it's there because you're supposed to be back.
Yeah, especially if you're in the zone.
So Chuck hadn't given us the audio on the other ones, but he's going to give it to us on this one, Coach. And I think this was Coach Ernie that called this, but we'll see.
I bet it was.
Hey, and if you'll just pause it and let me know when you're ready to run it, that way I'll have the audio for you.
Yeah, go ahead and let's get over to this one, Coach. And so here it is. They've got it set up. It's 34-28, and we're talking about this up in the press box.
Blocking it, so it's going to come down to can the defense step up here and stop them with 1:31 to go.
Defense is about to pick one off, I believe.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Let me back that up just a second again, Coach. And I don't know if you heard that.
Defense is about to pick one off. I believe that Foster comes in at quarterback. He's going to have to go over the top. And we've seen these wide receivers get behind the defenders. There's a timeout called. We'll see.
That'll be fine. So we think it, and the sideline warning is what the call is, but they get settled in. And the one thing that we had pointed out, Coach, is that a lot through the night – they were overthrowing their receivers.
Missed a couple in the first half for sure.
That could have been big plays.
Yes.
But their quarterback, it seemed like they were overthrowing it 5 yards no matter where they were at. It didn't matter if it was a 15-yard pass or a 30-yard pass. They were overthrowing it, and that would come back to haunt them right here. Now, Foster is in. The quarterback that they had in the first half, did he get hurt and was out? Or was it just I
heard cramps or something like that. I don't know.
Well, we'll go back, Coach, and you got your guy. Your defense is sitting back a little because you know that they've got to go down the field to do this. So take me through this just a little bit.
You're fixing to take us through it.
Look,
John Barajas he has a name change. He changed his name. I think that's the last name of his mom's father. Is what it. So I got to get that to you.
We'll get that changed, absolutely.
But obviously a huge play. A guy that's got a lot of experience for us, and if you think back through the years, we've seen him almost return a kickoff as a sophomore. We've seen him do this. There's been some games on that field where you've just seen him make plays like this. Throw it behind the receiver right there a little bit, and he's got a nose for the ball.
You saw the quarterback try to aim that one and loft it up a little bit. And what do you tell him? That's what you tell him from day one. Throw the football. Don't aim it. Don't
let
this.
It go.
Yeah, let it go. And he didn't do that.
Unless you don't play for us, then you can you can lob it to our guys all you want.
And look,
just huge. The kids, the energy, the excitement. Like, all right, even more distance. Even at this point, you're like, all right, let's not let them in the end zone where we're not defending the onside kick situation. But that's fun to watch. I don't know if you can let it play the end of it. Just the kids celebrating with each other. You
see that up in the top corner.
That's one of my favorite things to watch is when our kids celebrate together, or when big plays happen, and they're running around. I mean, that's our favorite thing to do. One of our favorite things to do as a staff, to go back through the years and see the big plays and the energy and that electricity that goes up and down the sideline. You see a group of young men that are heavily invested and that have sacrificed and worked and poured themselves into something. Man, you can't help but be excited in that moment. And for me, like, man, I'm so excited for them because I know how hard they've worked when the lights aren't on. And I know I say the same thing every week.
Well, the first game that I remember you pointing that out to me on the huddle film, we weren't looking at the play. It's the Ruston game when Baby D catches that ball and he goes, and you're watching everybody just go down the field along there with them. And
everybody, players on the field, the sideline, the school, the community, you know, everybody's invested in the outcome and has put so much into it that it means something. And so that's really fun to watch.
The Trojans end up victorious. They even their record. And I think it might have been a little bit of announcer's jinx there at halftime. So I know you wanted to put some of the pressure on yourself, but at halftime I'm talking about it'll be good to get the record even at 2-2 and hopefully finish non-district at 3-2. And then here comes 3 touchdowns. I was like, uh-oh, Coach is going to get me for all of that.
And, you know, that's been the whole goal of this thing is, you know, getting ready for this district run. Of course, we've got homecoming, and, you know, we need to continue to improve, and we need to get better, and we need to play well. We need to execute at a high level. But, you know, we know the run that's in front of us and the competition that's in front of us. And you see a progression and excited about the future with these kids.
Well, we're going to talk to some of the kids when we come back. We're going to take our first 3-minute break of the night, already halfway through the show, Coach, and going to take our first break of the evening. Again, this is the Thomas Bachman Show, brought to you by Sadler's Towing. We are live here at Walk-Ons on a Wednesday night edition of it. We'll be back right after this.
It all started with a sketch on a napkin. An idea created by 2 walk-on bench warmers. And after 10 years of hard work and perseverance to turn their dream into a reality, it's the #1 sports bar in America.
Welcome to Walk-On.
Walk-Ons, because everyone needs a little playing time.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
There was a huge assembly, and then he came to the gym and he announced it.
I would like to honor a warrior that is right here.
I was diagnosed with Wilms tumor kidney cancer.
Colin McGee. We're going to fly you and your family to Universal Studios in Los Angeles to meet Adam Levine. Yes!
Got there, and then we went to Santa Monica Pier, and the water felt good, and I found a bunch of cool rocks. And then we went to The Voice the next day. I got to meet Admiral Levine after the show, which was amazing.
I'm Bob Giles, and I believe every business should give back. Join me at gilesgivesback.com.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier. Transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
BK Distributors is proud to support high school athletics on 446 Sports. BK is the one-stop shop for trophies, banners, awards, letter jackets, and just about anything award-related. And now, welcome BK Apparel and BK Promotions to the family for all your spirit apparel needs and anything you need to brand your business. When you think of anything you need with your name on it, think BK. Check them out on Facebook or at bkdistrib.com. BK Distributors, Apparel and Promotions in Pineville.
Buying car insurance for the first time can be overwhelming. Do you have enough coverage? Are you paying too much? Will someone be there for you when the unexpected happens? I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. You may think it's easier online, but why wait? We're here to help you make sure you're covered. When it comes to car insurance, we have the answers, and we may have rates that save you money. So talk to Hawk at 318-791-HAWK or online at talktohawk.com and let us help you protect your biggest investments.
And we're back live at Walk-Ons, another Thomas Bachman show. This is the Thursday edition on a Wednesday of it because we moved it. You guys have homecoming. We're sitting here with Jimmy Duncan and JT Lindsay and getting them settled in a little bit. I think the nerves of maybe getting in the chair got to you a little bit, but we're good. How's it going?
It's going good.
Is it? JT? There you go. So a couple of players now, 22 and 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go. That makes it easier for everybody to identify that has watched the show throughout the week. First couple of weeks didn't quite go how we wanted, but it looks like you guys are getting on track. JT, having a great season.
Yes, sir. He pit me in with me and cutting him in the back. It went great.
You know, you talk about that. So that was a couple of weeks ago, and we made mention to it that you guys were both in the backfield at the same time. The receiving core that you have already makes it tough enough, but you two guys in the backfield together, that's tough on defenses.
Oh, yeah, hard to stop. Very hard to stop.
How do you defend that a little, if you're from the defensive side of it?
I'll be scared.
You'd be scared to do it. Indeed, he was. Jimmy, we'll talk to you too. The solid quarterback play that Joe has had this season, the last couple of seasons, has got to be good for you. I mean, to come in and have that type of quarterback play, knowing that you never know where the ball's going to go. He gets through his progressions well. But that receiving core that you guys have, clearly one of the better ones in the state. How does it feel to be a part of that?
Oh, it does feel good, really, because having, like, Jalen and Mama with us out there, and Eric, too, it's hard. It's hard to keep up with us.
Eric made a great job on that run right before the half. The momentum that was created by scoring and getting that last touchdown, because I think you guys start that drive with 37 seconds to go in the half, and then the screen was set up perfectly. And one of the things that I noticed on there was we've noticed all that you guys, you receivers, block so well down the field. Is that something you guys work on a lot?
Yes, sir. Just hustling down the field, trying to stop the top safety from coming down, trying to tackle our running backs. That's what we work on all the time.
How is there a point where, you know, you're like, okay, the ball's not coming to me, but I know that I've got this job, that you take a little enjoyment? Maybe enjoyment's not the word of it, but that's sort of knowing that I have this role in it. I'm going to get that guy and keep him from getting to my guy.
Oh, yes, sir. It just like, that's my job, to go ahead and stop him from making that tackle.
Jalen tells us he's the fastest on the team. JT, coach told me that might not necessarily be the case. Who's faster? You. Okay. He said you're not going to be able to race until after the season's over. But we have talked about the speed that you've got. We've seen you on the kickoff returns throughout, and the ability. I guess it was a couple of weeks ago when you scored on I guess it was the toss that got you around to the outside. You scored, but it was back-to-back plays. First one you kind of cut in. This one you showed your speed and got to the outside. When you see that corner of the end zone, I mean, what turns on in you knowing that that's where I'm going?
When I see my blockers and I just see a little bit of seam, I just have to run. Think like it's 100.
Do you guys ever think that you're arguably the biggest district in the state, 2-5A, one of the toughest? I mean, the schedule that you guys have had thus far, looking ahead, you run through the likes of the West Monroes and Rustons and those guys that are there. Do you ever look at it and say, man, we're sophomores, we shouldn't be here? I mean, do you ever look at that at all and say that?
It's a great opportunity. I never think of it like that.
What do you look? You've seen, and it's absolutely the right answer too. That was perfect because you show it on the field with that dedication. But there's been a history of players that have played as freshmen and sophomore and made contribution in this team. So you come onto the field and there's never we're just freshmen, so we're out here to practice on the scout team. You guys from day one were fighting to get onto the field.
Oh yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we've been fighting since coming in as freshmen. We're like, we wanted to play that year.
You never once thought that, I've got to wait a couple of years to get on the field.
Nah.
Yeah.
The pit working in practice, showing that you got talent, that you're really good and dedicated. And it'll show when you play.
How about the running backs that have been through the program in the last few years? You know, you have a steady diet of solid running backs that go on and play at the next level. It's on there. How much do you feed off of that, and how much information and experience do you get talking to those guys?
I get a whole lot, like Ryan Smith, Abu, and Jarvis. They really teach me a lot of stuff, because last year I didn't really read the blocks very good. They taught me a lot. Showed me all my mistakes and got me way better.
Who was faster, Jarvis or you?
Jarvis was at that time.
Okay, at that time. That's right. Yeah, he would look. We saw when he ran that kickoff back, I guess probably early his freshman year maybe. It was just phenomenal to watch, and we see that kind of speed and explosiveness out of you, JT, when you're out there, and it's a joy to watch you guys out there. This offensive line has grown up a lot this year. They have continued to get better and continue to get better, and you guys are gelling well as a team. How does that go into practice, knowing that defense isn't too shabby that you're going against every day?
Well, it just feels like, since we know we got a better defense than most of the people that we play against, it feels better going into a game, because it's way open more holes, they don't hit as hard, and just easy to rub off.
Right. Got a big game coming up tomorrow night.
Yes,
you start the season 0-2. Got an opportunity to win your third straight if you take care of business. How is it getting the distractions out of the way? Because you're younger guys, and so you haven't been through all of the homecoming weeks and those experiences. What are you doing to stay grounded this week and focus and know that, hey, we've got a game to take care of?
Just literally going to practice every day, just not going through the motions and taking it serious. Yeah, that's what makes us get ready and execute all the plays.
Yeah, I don't mind that if you got to take a call.
Nah.
I'm kidding.
So like at games, so we don't get distracted from like the stuff that's going on right now during homecoming week, like the parades and stuff. We don't got to worry about all that. We already got our mind on this right now. We got mind on game.
There you go. The same question. How do you stay focused, JT, during homecoming week?
I don't really worry about it too much. I just worry about it during while it's going on. But when it's practice time, it's practice time.
There you go. Speaking of practice, we've talked a lot of the guys that have sat in the same chairs that you're in, how intense practice is. Take me through some of those practices.
That tempo Tuesday ain't no joke.
Tempo Tuesday inside, I ain't gonna lie, I miss inside a little bit. I just miss it.
you just miss it. So no let up. The defense now, and we've got some of the guys in the house tonight. They don't let up and take it easy on you because you're younger guys, huh?
Oh, they try harder.
They're trying to get to you.
Yes,
that's good. So who do you look to on the team that's there now? Some of these leaders that you see as seniors and say, you know what? There's going to be the next couple of years that we've got to go in and take that leadership and teach the next crew of younger guys that come up.
I feel like Josh. He play a very big role of leadership. Yes, I really inspired a whole lot of other people that he don't know. Like little kids, they really look up to him a whole lot. See how his mentality and how he play and stuff.
Right.
They trying to be like him.
See, and that's one thing that we've talked about before. We saw Jarvis do it. I guess it was a couple of years ago. He scores the touchdown, and some smaller children are back in the end zone and goes up and high fives them a little bit, and you don't know what that impact has on them. And so, and leadership doesn't have to be just because you're a junior or senior. It just has to be, you want to go out and you do the right things on there. So that's tremendous to see. What are you looking forward to throughout the rest of this season? Some goals that you guys have?
Really just trying to be the best out of the state, trying to win state, really. That's basically it.
trying to do the best I can when I'm on the field and produce, help as a team. Trying to help the team, like blocking. I really got to work on blocking. I'm ready to improve in that over the course of the season.
What do you think it's going to take to get better at that? What do you think that you got to work on?
Oh, just going with the O-line, practicing, like learning what the defense will do, like what side they pick the head at, so I can help the O-line out. Just simple stuff.
What's changed from last year as your first year versus this year in your mindset and the way people talk about the speed of the game?
Yes, sir.
How has things slowed down for you now in your second year?
Really, because when I came in as a freshman, it was just way too fast. It wasn't too fast, but it was fast.
No, but anybody that's played the game knows the speed of the game, and so I follow you. Yeah.
Yeah, it changed very much.
You starting to see things a little bit more now and get an idea of what's going on with it?
Yes, sir. I didn't know what I was doing last year at all.
Well, I wouldn't say at all. Let me tell you, we saw some flashes of some great play out of that too. Explosive young men, Jimmy Duncan, JT Lindsey, number 22, number 6, and looking forward to great things out of you guys too. And again, I see the leadership in you that has been instilled in you. It just don't want to rush it, but can't wait to follow this career of you two young men. So thank you very much for stopping in with us tonight. There you go, Jimmy Duncan, JT Lindsey joining us on the Thomas Bachman Show. We will be right back live from Walk-Ons right after this.
It all started with a sketch on a napkin. An idea created by 2 walk-on bench warmers. And after 10 years of hard work and perseverance to turn their dream into a reality, it's the #1 sports bar in America.
Welcome to Walk-On.
Walk-Ons, because everyone needs a little playing time.
Is your vision just not as crisp and clear as it used to be? Are you having difficulty driving, especially at night? Are you over 40 and now needing reading glasses? If so, the trusted eye care team at Wallace Eye Associates is here to help with your family's eye care needs, just like we have been for nearly 40 years. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
The 2022 Time Dealer of the Year, Bob Giles, is now the new Hyundai dealer in Senla. Bob earned the industry's most prestigious award out of 16,000 new car dealers nationwide.
Hi, I'm Bob Giles, and I promise our team at the all-new Giles Hyundai will do everything possible to live up to the high standards that earned us this most prestigious honor. And with the utmost enthusiasm, we greatly look forward to serving you.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our mobile app today.
BK Distributors is proud to support high school athletics on 446 Sports. BK is the one-stop shop for trophies, banners, awards, letter jackets, and just about anything award-related. And now, welcome BK Apparel and BK Promotions to the family for all your spirit apparel needs and anything you need to brand your business. When you think of anything you need with your name on it, think BK. Check them out on Facebook or at bkdistrib.com. BK Distributors, Apparel and Promotions in Pineville.
For a lifetime of the best possible vision, look to Wallace Eye Associates, where our tradition of eye care excellence in Senla spans nearly 40 years. From your next family eye exam to cataract and glaucoma evaluations, trust your vision to the experienced eye professionals at Wallace Eye Associates. Call Wallace Eye Associates today at 318-448-4488 to schedule your next eye evaluation.
Buying car insurance for the first time can be overwhelming. Do you have enough coverage? Are you paying too much? Will someone be there for you when the unexpected happens? I'm Jason Hawk with Farm Bureau Insurance. You may think it's easier online, but why wait? We're here to help you make sure you're covered. When it comes to car insurance, we have the answers, and we may have rates that save you money. So talk to Hawk at 318-791-HAWK or online at talktohawk.com and let us help you protect your biggest investments.
Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks right from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing. Download our mobile app today.
We're back live to walk-ons, and there you go. Had one that was the ambiance, or one of them was too loud on there. Yeah, but anyway, we're back, Coach. I don't know how you do it, but you continue to trot out good young man after good young man after good young man, and these two well beyond their years of classification, both just sophomores. But Duncan and Lindsay are phenomenal young men.
Yep, I would love to take credit for it, but I can't. You know, that goes back to their parents and, you know, how they've been raised and, you know, what's been poured into them for a long time. And it makes it really rewarding for us to get to coach them and be a part of them and, you know, hopefully shape and mold them in these high school years, no doubt. But goes back to how they're raised by their parents and the job that they do, and it's really fun, you know, really rewarding, refreshing to get to coach kids like that, you know, too, that we're just sitting here hungry for information. They want to be coached, and it's fun, you know, when you're out there coaching and you're saying things and you're getting a lot of information, you know, to see the ones that are grabbing it and trying to apply and do the things that you're asking them to do. And, you know, I notice that out of them constantly, and I try and tell them, like, hey, you know, I see you trying to apply the,
right,
you know, whether it's something that when we're addressing energy or how we're lining up, the effort, the communication, you know, echo and formation, the little small things that, you know, people don't see that are going on in practice and nobody knows, and, you know, that show up big on a Friday night and a game night. Goes back to somebody's got to grab a hold of it and do it daily. And, you know, those two, I say young ones, I forget that they're two that play for us. And, you know, I mean,
they did say that
we happen to have them for a while, you know, and that's a great thing. But it's amazing how fast that goes too.
A couple of points that I took out of our talk with them, and we'll discuss that with you too. One, Tempo Tuesday is difficult. They said that certainly is one of those things. But JT made a comment to me that he says, you know, what's changed from your freshman year to this one? He says, well, he said, I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to play the game. And I was like, well, I beg to differ. I saw you out there. Otherwise, you're not going to be playing as a freshman and getting the time on the field.
They do things instinctually.
Right.
You know, their God-given ability is obviously unquestioned what they can do. And
right.
We try and tell them all the time, you know, not to jump out in front of you, but, you know, beginning to learn the game. Okay, I'm better than you physically, right? I have more God-given ability than you, and I understand what's happening. I'm mentally further along in the game. What chance does an opponent that you're already physically better than have? Now, eventually you're going to run up against that other guy that's very talented, very skilled, you know, very well coached, and those are the fun ones.
Right.
I mean, let's go. So, you know,
well,
I hope we can continue to teach, you know, as we grow and learn and pass on as much information as we can, and, you know, what sticks to them, what doesn't, what you got to continue to teach. But over the course of time, man, you just keep throwing the stuff over and over and over and repeat, you know, and they begin to grasp it all. It goes from a foreign language to now you're communicating the game back and forth to each other. You're speaking the same language.
Well, and that brings up such a great point, because we spoke with Jimmy, and a lot of times, in such the most overused term that we use is football IQ.
Well, he's got it football IQ
because he's talking.
He's very intelligent.
He's here talking about blocking downfield on the, and we brought up a point of these receivers, how they contain their block, and he said this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, he has a high football IQ. You can tell that, it's important in his house. He's been he loves it. I mean, he's got a high football IQ. He understands. He's one of the ones you can have conversations with,
right.
And you can tell that you're speaking the same language. The light's on. He wants the information, and he understands structure and scheme. And sometimes you're pointing out defensive personnel, and you're not saying number 21 or whatever. Hey, the nickel here, boy, boom, his eyes are right where they belong. He understands defensive structure, front structure.
When he says as a receiver, I've got to keep the safety from coming over and
he
getting my
understands
guy.
which safety it is that we're talking about.
That's exactly right. He makes that
his
point.
Football IQ is very high.
It's through the roof. Indeed it is. And you talk to JT. We've oftentimes, Coach, talked on this show about the influence of those other players and what they've done. And JT talks about Ryan Smith, and he talks about Jarvis, and he talks about those guys that have influences on him, and what knowing that he's going to have that influence on people later. And he makes a comment. He says, he says you just never know who's watching, and so you've got to do the right thing all the time. And man, their folks have got to be proud of him.
They should be very proud of him, and it's very rewarding to hear him say that, because that is it just keeps getting passed on to the next group, and hopefully the expectation and the standard, and it just raises, and they look back, hey, these young ones are watching you the way you watched. Who are the ones that graduated that you really respected? Not the ones necessarily that were the best players.
Correct.
Or scored, who were the guys that you really respected that were in our programs? Why'd you respect them? And then they start, okay, what are the young ones going to say about you when you're done? He was a really good player. Oh,
they get it.
Our kids are really incredible, and every day is look. Life is tough. This stuff is tough, and our kids are tough kids, and I just think about the day in and day out process of this thing. The newness is worn off. I mean, that's one of my favorite things. Here we are at midseason, where it's not day one, week one, where every team in the state and the country is excited. Your bodies are fresh. No, those days are long gone. We're into the grind of every day, the repetitiveness. It gets old. Like, golly, we're fixing to go to the same meeting. We're fixing to go to the same practice. We're fixing to do the same drill. Like, all right, I'm tired of this.
Right.
It's the ones that can discipline themselves to
continue to do it with the same.
Do it and then find something to grab onto, a little detail where I can improve today. Something where you're working on your craft, your game, and you're improving a little bit. Those are the ones that are going to separate themselves. And, as individuals, we talk about it as individuals, you can separate from the crowd. And then the teams that do it collectively are going to be the ones that give themselves a chance.
Well, let's look back at the first half. I know we've got Game 5 that is right here on us, and it's, I guess I feel like a kid at Christmas, because every day closer to it, I talk about it being one day closer. But you look back on the season, you're sitting at 2-2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunity to go 3-2 as you head into district. Look back at the first half of it and give me your thoughts on it.
I felt like we let a few slip away early, to be honest with you. Wish I'd, done a little bit better job. It just felt like we let some of them early ones slip away. But even with that, I mean, I like the progress. I like the path that we're on. I mean,
that's what I was gonna ask you there too.
I'm okay with where we are. I mean, but I don't want to say that I'm okay with, I would love to spot a ball again and redo some of those, like right now, like let's go.
And your kids would line up and do the exact
no
same
doubt.
thing.
And so you did, but
the adversity that you've, so
the
look at your scheduling.
Compete, the willingness to stay in the battle, we could have shut it down in those early weeks and said, better luck next week, and been ran out of the stadium. But next thing you know, we got the ball with a chance to tie, and it's a ball game, and we're scratching and clawing, and we're right there in the middle of it. And then, these last 2 weeks to get the wins in the have been really important for us as we move forward. And
couldn't you? I mean, there could have been an opportunity that you could be sitting at 4-0 right now. As it equates 2 years ago, or whenever you're setting up the scheduling, I'll never take anything away from an opponent that you played. Don't get me wrong, but there are different classifications of folks that you could play. You have went out and challenged this team week in and week out. So knowing that you sit at 2-2 and seeing the resiliency, seeing the growth, seeing the adversity you've overcome, you got to be happy with where you're at.
No doubt. I'm comfortable with where we are. There's a lot of football left to be played, and yeah, I'm fine with where we are. I'm trying to, I'm struggling, I guess, to articulate, but let's go.
See, and you get into week 5 there. You're in the middle of a 3-game homestand. We won't look ahead, but district does start up next week, and always an entertaining game is the one that we'll see next week. Have to wrap things up, but, arguably, and we talk about it every season, that District 2 5A is one of the tougher ones. This a little different year because we'll branch off and go and won't face these teams in the playoffs, a lot of them, save for one of them. We think, you don't know if it changes before you get to week 10 or not.
There's going to be no repeats as far as that go. As far as now, we've got to play well Friday night. We've got to focus on this one right here that's in front of us and do the job that we need to do for ourselves. But you still got to earn your way in.
Yep,
that's correct. It's not a 32-team bracket. It's a 24-team bracket,
and the 24 teams that are in there. We've looked at some of these brackets, and a lot of times there are teams that are making it in with losing records. There are teams that have made the playoffs that have won one game, and they've got to travel up. And everybody that makes this final bracket deserves to be in that final bracket. And you've talked about 5A. Anybody in there can go do that. I see it in the Division 1.
Yes, I mean, with the PowerPoint system, I don't always look at, wins and losses. Who are the people playing? Who are they beating? Who are they losing to? What's going on? Some of that stuff. And with the PowerPoint system, where it's not, by district and regionals and all that stuff. When you get into it, I mean, you could play a team that, out of the Catholic League or out of some of these tough districts that, maybe don't have a whole bunch of wins, but, boy, they're a really good football team, and they've been beat by –
because everybody in the Catholic
program and this program. I'm not to point that out, but I'm just saying, or our district, you could get beat up or come up a little bit short, like it is, and then – still put a ball down, and it's just not the records always that are the things. But
every week is meaningful, and that's what you
look at the Division I, list. I had a coach, opponent here in the last few weeks, and just like, man, you look over at that Division I, and it kind of reminds you of the old days when it's week after week. The playoffs, and
that's right.
It's like, you could draw anything.
But isn't that what you want? Isn't that what, at the end of the day, you want to measure yourself against those that measure themselves as?
I think so. I mean, I know the thing, I guess, say some of the things we talk about. For me as a coach, you want the people that you respect to respect putting the ball down with you, that your kids are going to compete, that, you're going to attack them in some areas and make them stress and make them have to coach, and, that they know they're going to be in for it. Win, lose, or draw, it's one that they know that they have to put their best foot forward. And I think we're at that point. Our kids, people know that our kids are going to play hard and play tough and be resilient. And, so as we get into this thing and we get into Friday night, those are the things that I want to show up, the play hard.
We are deep into this show and have yet to talk about our Friday night opponent. We need to do that before we get out of here. Green Oaks, a familiar opponent, makes their way down from the Shreveport area.
Yep.
We've been there. They've been here a couple of times. That's right. Little quarterback that they've had used to really throw the ball around there.
Yep. I think he went to junior college in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, the Crawford kid is at Nebraska.
Right.
I think he's got a air conditioning commercial, if I'm not.
He should. The coldest.
No, I think he does have a NIL deal with a air conditioning company, and I don't necessarily.
I'd have named my kids something like that if I'd have known that. I think that's great.
But you say that, you can see the type of player that comes through that program.
Right.
And that, I don't know that they necessarily have, a guy that's being recruited by LSU or not. I don't necessarily follow that as closely as some people.
You can
do.
check out the LSU tab on 446sports.com and get all the LSU coverage
I will find out for
that you
but, we just
need.
know them by numbers and
right.
People on and their speed, their size, their athleticism, and that stuff can give you a lot of problems if you're not on your game, if you're not executing at a high level. So ton of respect and need to play well. We try and spend a whole lot of time regardless. I know we talk about the opponent that we're getting ready to face, but, we spend more time focused on what we do. And I don't preparing for an opponent, here are the fronts they're going to give you. Here's the coverages going to give you, defensively.
And now let's go do our thing.
Here are the schemes they're going to attack you with. Hey,
right.
this is personnel you need to look out for. And, this guy could be a matchup problem there type stuff, but it's not necessarily where you're diving into making the preparation about the opponent, It's just presenting what they do to to attack us and defend us and making sure that the kids are good to go in that regard.
Well, Coach, as always, it's a pleasure that you spend your Thursday nights, albeit a Wednesday night, with us. I don't know what that's.
I guess my heart rate's up. My watch is asking me if I'm working out.
No, you're just talking football. There ought to be a setting on there for talking football because that certainly elevates you, Coach. It was one of the most interesting post-game interviews that we talk about a lot of these coaches. We talked about Gundy last week, but you're perfect for a lot of good sound bites. And you told me something. You talk about ownership a lot, and you told me. After the game, the question I asked you was what happened in the second half, and your response was,
I have to do a better job, I think is what it was. I was pretty pissed at myself, to be
well,
honest
you were a little
with
more animated at it at that time.
Yeah.
But
but I was also extremely proud of the young men in our program and the fight that they showed to go close that deal out. But, yes, there was a level of frustration and disappointment in the job I have to do for these kids.
Well, you could see that once it's over with, and you guys, because we were able to spend a little time in the post-game chat that we had with all of the coaches and you guys. It's phenomenal. Everybody's working on that, and to see every coach feeding off each other was great.
In the field house, yeah, it's a lot of fun in there.
Yeah.
And we got a great group of guys. And
food wasn't bad either.
The food wasn't bad.
And
look, as I say all that, there's also some credit that needs to be given to the opponent.
That's right.
And I don't mean to take anything away from EA and their staff and their coaches, and because they did a phenomenal job. Them kids continued and to battle and fight.
They've had a tough schedule.
You tip your hat to them.
Right.
So there is that element of it too. Respect for them and tip their hat to where they started making some plays and doing some good things. Hey, credit to them, but also
right. They're going to go out and they're going to win a number of games this year. We know that. I mean, their non-district is as tough as anyone that you'll find with the West Monroe and Zachary and Destrehan and Alexandria that they had to face.
De La Salle this week. De La Salle's undefeated, and I told Coach Lee that in pregame. Coach, just want you to know I got a lot of respect for you. Because you challenge your kids in your program and you put a ball down with
Ash
anybody.
type, a Ruston type non-district schedule. It's phenomenal to see. But those kids respond to it and they played hard, and that was a great football game to watch. It was a great one to be a part of.
It was a great one to win.
Right. That's going to wrap it up here. We have been live from Walk-Ons. This is the Thomas Bachman Show. And I'd love to say that it was less than 24 hours until kickoff, but I can't say that tonight. Thursday's going to
47 hours.
30. See, there you go. So I'm going to make our, we cover the three schools here, Ash, Menard, and Buckeye. And for the first time in the history of covering anything, I'm going to make it out to the Squirrel Bowl and watch Coach Ben and that group play tomorrow night. So you'll be able to catch it on our 446sports.com.
You know me well enough to know that I'll be checking in on Ben and James and rooting hard for them.
Look, I get to go down and do the pregame interview with him tomorrow.
On Friday night, homecoming. I think we're going to have food trucks and all kinds of stuff.
Really?
So come on out, come out and enjoy a Friday night. And then at Alexandria Senior High, support these kids. And
we tell you over
doing.
and over, don't watch the game on Friday nights on our broadcast unless you're sitting in the stands and you've got your phone. Because, look, I've told you this before. We'll have people look at us and just shake their head. When I ran down, and so a couple of them, as we're walking back up, I'll never tell you anything you don't know, but we need an elevator or I need to get in shape. And getting an elevator is probably easier than me getting back in shape. But it's great to see the crowd that's out there. We're able to interact with a lot of folks while it's out there, and it's great football on Friday nights. So don't watch it live. Come out to the stand. It's homecoming. Come out to the school and buy your ticket and show up and watch it and support these kids that are out giving their all for Alexandria and Alexandria Senior High, Coach. And they can watch it on the replay.
I'm in.
There you go. Head Coach Thomas Bachman joins us as he does each and every game week from the Jamborees throughout the playoffs, and excited to have – that's why I have Chuck there. Excited to have you out here as always, Coach. Couldn't do this show, certainly couldn't be the Thomas Bachman show without Thomas Bachman. We appreciate our friends at BK Distributors. They hooked us up with this. My man Scott Maybu, if you need anything at all when it comes to awards and designs and banners and such as that, give them a call up there. Check them out at bkdistrib.com. The Saddlers at Saddlers Towing for sponsoring the Thomas Bachman show, and of course the fine folks at Walk On that allow us to come out here each and every week throughout the season. My man Chuck Perkins doing a great job steering the boat back there. Head Coach Thomas Bachman, that's going to wrap it up. I am Doug Gann. God bless you all and good night. We'll see you next week.